Well, good morning and welcome to the Breakfast with the Guy Who Sews. Today is the 5th of October. I'm still trying to get over that it's October. We blinked back in April. Now it's October. But thank you one and all for showing up. It's been so good having you. And I missed each and every one of you last week because I was not live. We were up gallivanting around in Stoughton, Virginia at basically it was a Harry Potter festival. I forget what they call it because they have licensing things where they're allowed to use some of the names and that, but they can't call it Harry Potter Festival, basically. Anyway, I've brought along my good friend John from Art East Quilting Co. And for anyone that's been watching my channel for any amount of time, know that I love and make his patterns all the time. So it's fun to bring John, the designer, along with us to sit and hang out and chat. And we may even get a little bit of sewing in. So over to you, John. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and all that good stuff.
Hello. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me back, Sean. It's
It's
always
a pleasure having you.
it's always a fun time to hang out with you. Yeah. So my name is John McPhail. I am the designer and creative director at Art East Quilting Company or Art East Quilting Co. So Sean's been a longtime follower of us. So I've been so glad to be able to connect with him and come spend some time with you. We've got new things on the go. Sean's, I think, been posting about our new Winnie the Pooh sew along, the 100-acre wood sew along. So I'm
It's beautiful
yes.
box.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I'm located in we work and we live out of Cape Breton Island in Nova Scotia, Canada. So it's fun to connect with other people across the continent.
It is. And Cape Breton is such a beautiful area of the world. If you ever get a chance to go up there and see it in person, you need to. It is beautiful. I've actually had the privilege of going up there and visiting Cape Breton Island very briefly on a cruise ship. It was before I started quilting. If I'd known John back then, I would have stopped in and said, "Hey, how you doing?" But
Oh, for sure.
at that point, I hadn't even considered quilting. So, one day I'll make it back up there again. But yeah, it's such a fun, beautiful place up there.
Yeah.
All right, so I think what we'll do, since our chat has been so busy this morning, which I love, it's always fun interacting with everybody before the live starts. We'll do our roll call. This is something I started recently, and now I can't find where'd you go? Okay, anyway, we won't put the graphic up because I can't find it. But yeah, go ahead and say good morning or good evening, depending on which part of the world you're living in. So that way we can say hi to you because, yeah, if I go back up to the top of the thing, we'll miss out. It looks like my friend Laurie Petrie is here. She says she's from Cape Breton as well. So you've got a neighbor there, John.
That's
really
right.
great.
Where in Cape Breton are you, Laurie?
You can all go ahead and have coffee together or something sometime.
That's right.
All right. So Debbie is in Western Canada. I think, yeah, she's out in the British Columbia section. Good morning to Melanie Taylor, Ingrid Bowers. Good morning, Sean from Moldy Lasagna. It's good to see you as well.
Good morning.
Deb S is here with us. Andy, good morning to you. Kathy Klein, my friend Zaza is here with us. Let's see. She says she's in Dundee.
Dundee. Awesome. I live in Dominion, but we work in Sydney.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, when I hear Dundee, I think of Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah.
But no, I'm Australian, so you would figure that would be the case.
Yeah.
All right. So Stephen says he's in Central Eastern Canada. He lives in, I think, Oshawa, just north of Toronto.
Yeah. Hi, Stephen. How are you? Say hi to Walter for me.
Yeah, he's always a lot of fun. And we'll talk about this a little bit later on. But Stephen will be opening up his registrations for his fall virtual retreat, which is free, which will be on it's like 2 weeks from now, whatever those dates are. So if you ever get a chance to go to that, it's a lot of fun, but you do need to pre-register because that does fill up very quickly, kind of like your fall launch a couple of weeks ago there, John.
Yeah.
I showed up a little bit late and it was full, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll see it when it's all done. But, it's good to see that you were so popular. I think it was fun. Okay, Zaza says, when I hear of Dundee, she thinks the original one in Scotland. That is fun. Okay, so Sean says he had 2 granddaughters born in the last 11 days, one here in Illinois and one in Australia. That is awesome. I remember you talking about that a little bit.
Congratulations.
Okay, Kathleen Davis says, hello, everyone. Good morning. Just north of Sean. Where are you located, Kathleen? Now I'm very curious. my friend Tasha is here with us as well. Good morning. She was on live with me 2 weeks ago. And if you have a channel, go ahead and put in your channel link. It should be exclamation point in your first name. If we don't have you, go ahead and tag me and I'll make sure we get you in as soon as possible. What did you bring something along to sew today, John, or are you just here to chat with me? Like,
I did bring something. I brought something very small to do. So I discovered last time I have a hard time talking and sewing when I really have to concentrate. So I brought something easy. So I made I made a half scale Anna Green Gables block and turned it into sort of like a stuffy or a rag doll. So all I have to do, and if I get this done, I'll be happy. I just have to hand stitch the bottom closed.
it's so neat to see that half scale, because I remember seeing on an email, or I follow you on, like, I follow your email and your Instagram and everything else, and I get confused which platform it's on. So forgive me on that. But it
Oh, no
was
worries.
fun to see. It was fun to see that you were doing it half scale. So it's fun to see the final result.
Yeah,
And I'm actually going to be working on one of your projects as well, which is called There She Blows, and it is actually a free pattern of John's, and we're going to try something new today. So you can go ahead and download this if you want and try it yourself. But the pattern, if my thing works properly, is going to look just like that.
yeah, I actually brought a couple of them
Oh, yeah, you
here.
brought that along. Yeah, I was telling John this morning. He's like, oh, let me go grab that real quick.
So here, it's a 20 by 20 inch block. So it's a great size for a cushion cover or a pillow. So this is a kind of monochromatic version I made. And then I also did this version here, which I haven't turned into anything yet. This is an orphan block. But
Yeah, it's just a fun pattern. I've wanted to do it for a while, and I was sitting there earlier in the week, and I was like, okay, what am I going to sew with John? And I thought, it'll be a really good time to go ahead and do this pattern here, just to show everyone that you can, it's a good way for you to try this out. You can try out one of the patterns, so you kind of get an idea of his style. I love the pattern writing, and I would say that even if John wasn't standing there staring at me, I think the pattern writing is really good. Anytime I can read a pattern where I don't have to read the words too much is a good pattern for me, because I'm very visual and I love just looking at pictures. That's why when we go to IKEA and buy stuff, I put it together. Because
well, thank you very much. Oh,
but that's how I work. Yeah, that's how I work. I'm very much a visual person. So anytime, those sort of patterns work very, very well. So we'll try and see how much we get done. And I failed miserably trying to do complicated patterns on a live before, but I have gotten everything clipped together in in sections. So hopefully we won't have too many mistakes.
oh, Donnell's here. I'm going to be hanging out with Donnell on the 19th.
Yes, in 2 weeks' time. So yeah, definitely go over and check out that in a couple of weeks. I know Donnell's super excited about that. So that'll be fun. All right, let's see what else is going on here. Okay, Pat said she has bought she loves the Horton Cabin, which is the quilt behind you.
Yeah.
She bought the bundle during the live launch. I need to go ahead and buy my bundle because I keep forgetting and it's just not good. Let's see. Ingrid says she loves your coffee quilts. I love all his quilts. They're just a
Oh,
wonderful thing.
my coffee cup.
Oh, the cup. Okay.
I'm a big
Oh,
Golden Girls fan, so this is a little homage to Betty White. Says I'm not one to blow my own Vertubenflugen.
yeah. So let us know in the comments if you are a Gilmore Girls. Not Gilmore. Okay. Okay. If you like the Gilmore Girls too, let us know. That'd be a lot of fun. But the Golden Girls, let us know. And if so, let's make a poll. We all love polls here. Engage with your audience. Start a poll. Okay. So you never know what you're going to run into here on the guy who sews Brecky, because I don't know what we're going to end up doing. Is your fave Golden Girl? We can all vote for that. Just hang on a second and see if I was going to. Okay, so who is it? It's Blanche, Dorothy,
Rose, and Sophia.
Sophia. I always want to call her Seripa because I worked with this lady. She was a Finnish lady, and her name was Seripa, and she reminded me very much of Sophia. And the names are very similar. So if you hear me call her Seripa, that's why. All right, so we've now put the poll up, and you go ahead and vote for your favorite Golden Girl, and then maybe on we'll do our favorite Gilmore Girl character, but we won't do that just yet. My wife Amanda loves the Gilmore Girls, and the two exchange students we have staying with us love the series as well. They usually sit there and watch an episode or so together each night because they haven't seen that series over in Europe. It sounds like so. Okay, so we'll get started on the whale, and we'll see how far we get today. Okay, Donnell says she wants to grow up to be like just like Sophia. Melanie says Blanche is the bomb. Zaza says they are all fab, but Sophia was her favorite. I'm trying to think who my favorite is. I think I would have to say Sophia too. Like she just was no nonsense, just told you how it was. I
Yeah.
think my favorite quote from that series would have been "The hurricanes are coming."
Hurricanes are coming. Hurricanes are coming. I said that quite a bit when we actually had the hurricane here.
Oh, what was that last year or the year before that you
the,
guys?
the year before, yeah.
Oh, I remember that because I work for a container ship company, and I do all the imports into Canada, and our Canadian port is Halifax. And I get an email a couple of days later after that storm came through with this tractor that discharged with the roof missing.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, the hurricane just ripped the roof straight off this poor tractor, and the roof was like sitting like 10 meters away from it. And I was like, oh, great. I get to tell the customer that the tractor's damaged. I was like, oh, jeez. But,
I'm just laughing at Dragonflies for Donna says, I'm a rose, but want to be a Blanche.
all right. Andy says here she's not sure how she feels about a Golden Girls reboot. Don't mess with a classic. Sophia was my favorite. I didn't even know they were doing a reboot. So I'm learning stuff all the time. But yeah, sometimes reboots are okay, but yeah, usually like those classics, they need to just leave. I'm with Andy. I think just leave it be. And I don't know, but I want someone to redo the Running Man, which is a Stephen King novel. They did a movie back in the 80s or 90s, and it was horrible. It didn't follow the book. If they followed the book with today's technology, I think it'd be really good. So, Hollywood, if you're listening, which I doubt you are, please remake that one for me.
So they were just filming a Stephen King. I don't know if it was a movie or it's going to be a series, but they're just filming one here in Nova Scotia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I wish I would have prepared myself to tell you which one, but my aunt actually works in casting, so I kind of get the inside scoop sometimes on those things.
Oh, okay. I'll have to go look that up later on and see which one it is. Good afternoon, Giovanna. It's good to see you. She is one of my friends from Italy. She lives over there in the Emilia, Romagna. My Italian's horrible. She's probably cringing right now trying to hear me speak Italian because that is not my first, second, third, or even fourth language. So there you go. All right. So I successfully put my eye on. This is going to be a blue whale, apparently.
Oh, awesome.
And then okay, where's D? There's D. The key to these is definitely organization. I was reading that. I think that was like one of your first tips in the pattern itself.
Yeah.
Is organization is key, and that is so true. So, and if you buy his kits, like for the so-longs, they actually include these little sheets of stickers, which is a fun addition. And then I just went ahead and printed out. I made up my own on Excel and just print them out on paper and just clip them on. That's how I do it. But whatever method works best for you is great. Okay. Good morning, Lynn. She says hurricane tornado took part of her house away. I have to relocate and don't have a site. I'm so sorry to hear that. And I hope you get them back soon. Yeah. That hurricane was nasty. I'm so thankful that it avoided us, but I do feel for everybody that got affected by that because that was not a good thing. I think it was so much worse than everybody expected.
Yeah. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, especially for the folks inland, like the ones on the Florida coast, Gulf. You kind of expect sometimes to get a hurricane here and there, but yeah, like Asheville, North Carolina, and that. Yeah, it's just so sad to hear that. All right.
Oh, Pat said she camped in Nova Scotia for a month this summer, saw Men of the Deeps, my fourth time at the Cape Breton Miners Museum. Oh, very exciting, Pat.
I
So
wanted to get. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, for those who don't know, Men of the Deeps is a men's choir, and it's all the members are former um, coal mine workers,
Oh, nice.
and it's quite something to see. And they all come out wearing um, their their helmets with their lights on. It's uh, it's a great it's a great thing to see if you're here. It's always kind of touching too, because mining
Yeah.
is hard work.
We didn't get to see that because I think I was telling John earlier we got to visit up there as part of it. We went on a cruise from New York up to New England and Canada and Sydney, Nova Scotia, which is near Cape Breton Island, as one of the stops. And we did not have time to do both the Miners Museum and the Highland Museum, which is a great outdoor museum and well worth visiting. So we chose the Miners Museum, not the other one, Highland Museum. We'll get it right here in a minute. But I would love to go back sometime and see the Miners Museum and then also hang out with John, Matt, and of course, Dandy.
For sure. And we actually live only about 10 minutes away from the Miners Museum,
Oh,
Pat.
nice.
So you're very close. And Sean, when you would have come into port and you saw that big fiddle, I
Mm-hmm.
can't miss it.
Nope.
Our office is just one street up from that.
Oh, really? So I probably went by it and didn't even realize. Well, I wouldn't have realized it because I didn't quilt back then. So
Yeah.
that is really, really neat. Yeah, it's a beautiful. Sydney's a cute little town. It really is.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's very historical. It's so the city itself is very industrial. It was kind of often referred to as like industrial Cape Breton. And then as you go out of the city, you really get the taste of the nature and the coasts and go further. You can get to the highlands.
Yeah. Now, if you ever get a chance to go up there, you all need to go up there and take a look around. The fiddle is fun. I really enjoyed seeing that because in my hometown in Australia, we were the country music capital of Australia. So basically, it's like the Australian version of Nashville. And
Oh,
we have a huge golden guitar because that's the award they hand out for the country music artists. Like what you like here in America, you had the CMA awards. We have something similar. I forget what they call it, but yeah, you get this little golden guitar trophy. So seeing the big fiddle versus the golden guitar was kind of neat for me too. So
every
I
time I
probably got
hear every time I hear country music in Australia, my mind always automatically goes to Keith Urban.
yes, and I probably saw him. I probably saw him in concert at some point as a kid because like all the budding country music stars would come and play at the festival and that sort of thing. There, they had like a rising country music artist thing. And so yeah, I probably saw him as a kid and didn't even realize it. Like,
Oh,
which would
that's
be
cool.
really neat. Good morning, Fallon. Good morning to Mr. Rob from Quilting in the Man Cave. Um, I know I'm missing people. I am not doing. I'm not doing great with that. I've already had to pull out Jack. Um,
The pattern's so fun. You're forgetting everything else.
I am, and I'm just, yeah, I'm terrible. So if I've missed you, it's not because I don't like you. It's because I'm just um, very distracted.
Steven said he saw the golden guitar.
He did, yes. And I was watching that video because he didn't realize that, but him and Walter stayed in my hometown one night, and then yeah, they're driving out because I loved watching their videos each day of where they went. Um, don't tell Stephen this, but I usually just watched the part where they were traveling around. I didn't listen to him talk a whole lot beforehand because I was more interested in seeing where they went, because like pretty much everywhere they went was somewhere I have been myself as a kid before coming here. So I really enjoyed that, and I emailed him the one night when I realized they stopped in Tamworth, and I was like, hey, do you realize you stopped in my hometown? Like I've been by that hotel so many times, and yeah, and then they showed us the golden guitar on the way out. It's not really much to see. It's on the side of a highway. You get out, you take a photo. I think they have like a wax museum there. At one point, they had an ice creamery, which is the only reason I went there.
Yeah.
Um,
I I
uh,
always like really big things, like when things are made bigger than they're supposed to. And then I also like things that are made smaller than they're supposed to be. There's there's always something magical about it.
Well, if you like things that are big, Australia is your place. They had the big everything. Like they had the big bull, they had the big prawn, they had the big pineapple, the big banana, which Stephen also saw, I think, on his most
Where's
recent trip.
where's the big
Um,
banana?
so in a place called Coffs Harbour, it's about halfway between Sydney and Brisbane on the coast. Like it's right off the highway. Like you drive up the Pacific Highway, and you drive through Coffs Harbour, and then you just come around this corner, and there it is, just sitting there looking at you. Um, Again, like this, the banana, you just walk through it. It's like 10 seconds, you're done. But they do have a really cool toboggan ride up the hill, which is through the banana plantation as well. And that is well worth doing at least once. So usually when we go to the big banana, we usually just see the banana, we take our photo in front of it, and then we go up and take a few toboggan rides.
Oh, that's awesome.
All
I
right. So
I love anything banana. It just makes me laugh. I just recently was able to acquire 3 yards of Tula Pink's big banana backing that she released with Monkey Wrench years ago.
oh, okay.
I'm excited to use that in a quilt.
Yeah, you'll have to go look up whichever video it was that Stephen did with the big banana because I don't have any video footage of it because I wasn't taking video footage back then. So, okay, all right, let's see. I'm
So
trying to
there
read you. Go ahead.
here in Canada, so in Nova Scotia, we have the giant fiddle here in Sydney. There's a giant blueberry in Oxford.
Okay.
There's in New Brunswick, there's a giant lobster. We
Where
have a
was that? Because I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah, that's in I think I could be wrong. It could be near Moncton, New Brunswick.
Okay, I
Um,
didn't go to Moncton, so that will explain it.
there's been I can't remember exactly where, but it's in Alberta and it's a giant hand holding a cheesy, like a cheese puff.
Oh, okay. That's fun. Good morning to Miss Nellie. It's good to see you. Okay, Mama Andrea says that she's finishing up her pattern. And she'll be posting a picture on her community soon, so definitely keep an eye out for that. John from Older Designer says he's planning a trip to Canberra in the spring to meet my granddaughter and son-in-law who I've never met. That'll be a lot of fun for you. And let me know when you go to Canberra, and I'd love to hear Stephen's opinion on this well. If you get the Washington D.C. vibes from that, because every time I go to Canberra now, it reminds me of Washington D.C. Just how it's all laid out. Like when you go up to like Mount Ainslie or what they call the Australian War Memorial Museum, which you're going to get a chance to go and see. It's well worth the price of admission, even though it's free. It's an excellent museum. You need to go see that. But it really does feel like how they've got the stuff laid out, very, very similar to DC with how they've got like the National Mall, all that sort of stuff there. I'd love to hear how
And
they
it's
feel that.
Canberra is the capital, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
But it's like DC during an apocalypse. Like there's nobody there. Like you can wander around. You might see like 3 people wandering around. Like we were down by Old Parliament House one day, and like in Washington, like there's a million people there, and it's very low key. Like the population there, I think is only like 200,000 or 300,000.
Oh wow.
So
So I know Gnome Angel, Ange Wilson.
yes,
She lived in Canberra for a lot of her life, or she's either from Canberra. I can't remember exactly which, but I know she's spent a lot of her time there.
yeah, we used to go here and there because one of my aunts lived not far from there. So like from my hometown, it was like a good 9-10 hour drive. But yeah, we went down there a few times, and then when we were in 6th grade, we went down there on a school excursion or field trip for 5 days, so we could go see all the stuff like the Australian Mint, the Electoral Education Center, the Science Museum, which as a kid I loved, and all that sort of stuff there. So Stephen says the Parliament Building design is very cool. Yeah, the new Parliament House, which they made in '88 for the bicentenary is absolutely stunning. Like it's actually built inside a hill.
Oh wow! Oh cool.
Yeah, and then they got this huge like 4-poster flagpole kind of goes up the top. You'll have to go take a look
Yeah.
at the Parliament House in Australia. It's really, really neat, and it's free to go. Like you can go in and actually wander around. Like it's not like the White House, not the White House. What's it called? The Capitol buildings. I've been here 20 some years, and you think I'd know my buildings. But you have to have like guided tours. No, you just kind of just wander around and see. Like you can actually go into like the House of Representatives or Senate rooms. They have you can go in there and watch the parliamentarians argue with each other and stuff if you want. It's really neat. You can go in and actually see pretty much everything. Like you can't just wander into the Prime Minister's office and have morning tea with him. But beyond that, you can pretty much do whatever you want, which is fun. So Stephen says it's a nice city, but a ways designed. But to be honest, a little sleepy, and the museum was nice. Yeah, sleepy would be a good way of describing Canberra. Compared to the bigger cities I've been to. So I think what he says there would line up with what I would say, very much so.
Giovanna's asking what part of Canada I'm in. I'm in Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia. So I'm right on the east coast. We're kind of plopped right on the edge of the Atlantic Ocean.
All right. Linda says, "See you later. I've got to get ready for my work day. Heavy coffee drinking here." Well, I hope your work day is good, and definitely come back and check out the replay when you're done, because we're going to have a lot of fun this morning. Hopefully, without any more visits from Jack.
Well, I accomplished my task.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Well, it was fun seeing you all.
Yeah. Goodbye.
We shouldn't do that to the people. That would not be fun because they missed me last week. So.
I think I'm actually going to put a label on this. So I'm making this for my mother. My mom has a collection of little stuffies I've made from my blocks, and she's
nice.
Very much so looking forward to her Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah, and you're not super far from where the Anne of Green Gables was it the museum house? I forget what they call it.
The house, yeah, the heritage site. So we're about a 5.5 hour drive from there, and everything just kind of aligned in mysteriously this year for this whole Anne of Green Gables release, because I had never actually been to the site before this summer, but our little dachshund, Dandy, had to have emergency back surgery, and the hospital is actually in PEI, about 20 minutes away from the site. So we were stuck there for 5 days or so. So we had the opportunity to go and check out the actual site, and it's very cool.
Which is so fun. I knew nothing about Anne of Green Gables when I went, but it was so much fun to go see, and you wander through the house and the grounds. I'm assuming it's still the same because I went like 12 years ago.
So it's different, a lot different now.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, so they've recently built a huge tourist center around it. So they still preserved the house and all that part as it was, but now there's a huge information center in front of it that has a really cool Lucy Maud Montgomery museum. And it takes you through her life and all her works. So it's it's really cool.
Must be, yeah, because when I went there was a parking lot where the bus dropped us off, and it was like you walk through there was like a barn that was kind of like the welcome center, and then you just wandered up to the house and you walked around, and then you go down into the gardens, which were beautiful. And what was the other thing that was there? Oh, the little Lover's Lane thing, I think it was. And yeah, that was pretty much it. I mean, it was a beautiful place to go see, and I was freezing to death because we went up there in early June, and I figured, okay, well, we went to Halifax the year before, and it was like 25 degrees Celsius. So I figured, okay, I'll be good. No, it was like 6 degrees Celsius or 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So me and my little t-shirt and shorts was freezing to death. But it was still a good day up.
Good morning, Shannon. Shannon's here.
Oh, there she is. How you doing? I haven't seen my mate Shannon in a long time. It's good to see you. All right, so I closed the poll for the Golden Girls. Which one was your favorite? And Sophia was a narrow winner, 32%. Rose was 29, and then Blanche and Dorothy were 18. So that was really, really neat to see. So here we go. Giovanna says she has a nephew and brother-in-law in Calgary. I know people from Calgary. I just can't remember. Janice is watching from her bed, which is fun. I mean, I think it's neat that people, wake up and watch us as well. Good morning, Annette. It's good to see you. She is my friend from the magic capital of the world, and I told her I fought at her last week when I was up at the Harry Potter-ish festival. I can't remember the name of it. I think it was like Queen City Witches and Wands, or I don't remember what it was, but it was a lot of fun. So, all right, now I'm out of coffee. I better go do something, I suppose. All right, let's see. Let's pull my pattern up. So far, it's just working doing it on the tablet.
Oh, good.
And
I find people they're either camp digital pattern on a device or they have to print it.
I'm usually okay with the digital patterns, but ever since you kindly upgraded me to your booklets last year for Alice,
Yeah.
I've been a big fan of your booklets, and I just did not want to print out this pattern. I was like, it's a 15-page document. I was like, let me try and see if I can do it on the tablet just to see if I can do it that way. And so far, it's working out nicely.
I can do digital, but I do like to print out the cutting guide.
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
I like to mark it off. Yeah.
Yeah. That is very, very true. Okay. Giovanna is asking, what am I making? I am making John's free pattern, which is called There She Blows. I'll throw the link to the pattern in real quick. And hang on a second. If I scroll over a couple of pages.
Good morning, Annette.
This is the other reason I like doing this, because I can just pull up. This is the pattern I'm making. So it's John's free pattern. That's called There She Blows. It's a nice little whale. And you can make it yourself and try out the Art East projects to see if it's a nice fit for you, because the writing style is all the same as everything else. It includes the fabric cutting guides and all the other good stuff. So it's a good way for you to check it out and see if it's a good fit for you. Okay, Sharon says she's been working Saturdays, just sneaking in this morning to say hi. Well, we will not we will not rat you out to your boss. We promise. We are all friends here, and we don't snitch. So I don't know that I'll get this thing finished this morning, but I think it would make a good dent in it and see how we did. And I've always wanted to make this pattern. I figured, since John's on with me, be a good excuse for me to do this. I probably should be cutting out the fabric for Pooh, but we can do that later.
Oh yeah.
So how long did it take you to assemble the Pooh block? Is it something that's going to take a while, like compared to the last few?
Yeah, so as a whole, I feel the 100-acre wood quilt to be a slightly quicker than the Alice quilt last year. I feel generally I find the pieces to be a little bit larger in general, and I find it goes together a little bit quicker. The Christopher Robin block and the final block will take more time. Those are kind of the bigger ones. But I've tried to do things this year to make them a little bit easier. So in the past, where I might have had half rectangle triangles, this year we've included templates instead. So you just have to trace out your templates and cut them. So that kind of makes things a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I'm interested to try that, because I didn't have any issues with the half square rectangles and so forth. But yeah, I'm interested to try the templates, and I'm considering just tracing them out on what's it called, freezer paper, and then iron that onto the fabric and cutting it out that way. That's kind of how I'm thinking of doing it. Zazar is asking, have I seen Adam So's Winnie the Pooh? I have not seen that yet, but I will go check that out. And then you'll be over visiting Adam So's in a couple of weeks, right, on his channel. Is that correct?
No, Adam's coming over to our community. So,
okay.
So for anyone who isn't in
I
the
hope that's
Art East,
okay for me to announce. I mean, I kind of
oh,
did.
oh no,
So.
no, yeah, for sure. I've
Oh,
actually meant to announce it all week, and I keep forgetting to make a post about it.
okay. I was like, oh, geez, I hope you did. You told me this morning. I was like, oh, I probably just opened my mouth and said something I shouldn't have.
No. You're good. So anybody wwho doesn't belong to the Art East Quilting Co community, we actually have a free section on there now where you can go and we have live events every once in a while there, and there's some resources there. So it's we're going to be going live there on October 20th. And Adam and I are actually going to be working on this quilt that you see behind me, which is one of our new ones called the Haunted Cabin. So we're going to be working on a small version of that one. So we're very excited to do that. And then I will be on Adam's channel sometime eventually.
Oh,
so
nice.
that will happen, I'm sure.
What time on the 20th?
1 p.m. my
Okay.
time. So 1 p.m.
That'd be-
Atlantic. So
Or
that'll
12
be
p.m. news. 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 Central, 10 Mountain,
and
9
5
Pacific.
5 p.m. Adam's time.
Yes. Yeah, those time zones I got pretty well down pat because I do work with people in the UK, Europe, and that sort of thing there, and then I always know what time it is in Australia too. So, Giovanna is asking, do you have a channel or you
I
don't
don't.
post to it, right?
Well, I technically have a channel, but I don't post videos to it. So I don't have a YouTube channel that I update. I do use YouTube to host a lot of my videos on our when I say host, just I upload them to YouTube to link them elsewhere, but I don't actually have a channel with videos.
Not a problem. And Donnell has a good question here for you, and I'd love to hear your answer. She says, for someone like herself that's about to start the very first Art East pattern, which is the 100-acre wood, any good advice?
Yes. Organization is key for these ones. So there's a lot of pieces, and they're all different sizes. So just make sure that as you're cutting, that you are labeling your pieces and keeping them organized. And take your time. It's not a race. I find the blocks of the month, even though they're not beginner patterns, they're really great for beginners because you don't have the pressure to finish a lot all at once. You can take your time over the month and pick away at it if you need to.
Well, take 2 months or 3 months, or even more. Like, you don't, John is not going to come hunt you down if you don't finish on June 1st when it finishes. If we did, I would have been taken care of a long time ago because I just finished The Wizard of Oz, which that so long officially ended in May of last year? I think. Yeah.
Yes, last year. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to think about it. See, that's how long it's been. But just enjoy the journey. Like, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, organization would be my advice to you as well, Donnell. Like, just take your time. I think I sent you my templates for these cute little labels, which I just print out and then just clip them on. I mean, I can show you. That's just how I organize mine. Each piece has a label on there, so that way you are all set. Actually, yeah, I have one that has like the capital letters, the lowercase letters, and the double letters just because of you, John. So
another tip too, and you might do this already, but it is controversial. But I do recommend pressing seams open for those types of blocks because it is going to help with bulk.
I agree. I think I've pressed open for most of these, and iron. You have to iron your seams. Like I was never one that wanted to iron seams, but when I started, I was about halfway through doing the scarecrow block and those tiny little pieces for his fringe. that was the moment where I've discovered I have to iron whether I wanted to or not, because if you don't iron your seams, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. So yeah, definitely that. So we've done this much so far.
Oh, awesome. I can see him.
Yep. So that is good. Now we got.
He's coming to life.
He is, which is really cool. Okay, so now we'll move on to the next section.
Also, Donnell, if you don't starch your fabrics, so I like to use Acorn Precision Piecing products for these blocks, and I just love them. They're great for this type of project to keep your seams flat and your blocks flat.
Yeah, I have the Acorn products, and I keep forgetting to put it on there until after I've already cut it all out. So I haven't used it yet. But if you don't have starch and that sort of thing there, you can get away quite successfully with pressing it and then using a clapper as well for some of those bulkier sections. But the Acorn stuff, from what I understand, will make your life a little easier. So if you have access to that, or best press, or your favorite starch of choice, it may make your life a little easier. It might be a good idea to do that if you like starching it all for your first project as well. So that is definitely good advice.
So
But
I did I did a little Acorn demonstration over in our community when we released our new patterns. So if anyone is interested, I'll put our link down below, but there is a video that you can watch where I release the patterns, and then afterward I do a little demonstration on them. I'll get a link for you guys.
yeah, I don't know if you can. I'll have to make you a moderator for that to happen, but
Oh,
I can
okay.
go over. Where would I find it on your site? It's under the Honey Hive, right?
Yeah, so if you go so
Resources and videos.
if you click above the honey, there's one that just says that one that doesn't say 100 Acre Wood, but it says Art East Quilting Co. community, and there's one that
Yep.
says public spaces and things. So if you
Public
just click on
events.
that one and get that link.
Oh, there it is. I see it.
So Be It Quilt says, I really like John's pattern, the spill quilt. It reminds me of back when I used to paint a lot. Oh, thanks. I haven't made one of those in a long time, but I've been itching to.
Well, let me share.
Donnell said that she's seen that demonstration of Acorn. Is the Acorn package available anytime? It is. Yep. It's on our website. So we have an Acorn pack that's available that's called the Art East Essentials Bundle. And it's for someone who's never used it before. It contains all the perfect products to kind of have a good introduction to it.
All right, I'm struggling with this. I don't know why it will not. I'm hitting the share button, and it's. That's really strange. If you put it, John, one way we could do this, if you put it in the private chat here in StreamYards, I can copy and paste it from there. That might be the easiest way, because I'm struggling with this.
No worries.
So, all right, and that says she's old school too. Almost press seams open. Okay, the spill kit. Oh yes, yeah, the spill kit. I want to do that pattern. That might be one I have to do in the very near future, because that looks like it's one of the easier patterns to do as well.
It is, and it's a quick one. Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be a good little stash buster as well. So, okay. But this there she blows pattern as well is I'm finding this very straightforward to follow.
There you go, Sean. I just sent you a link. I think.
Okay, perfect.
That should work.
Yeah, I see a thing here. Copy link. And
well, I am being very productive today, more so than I thought I was going to be. I have a label on now.
That's awesome. We'll just make it Acorn.
So I was telling Sean earlier, before we went live last night. We were invited to a retreat here locally in Sydney, and it was nice doing something local. So we were able to bring a lot of quilts. So I think we had almost 60 quilts there to show. So we're a little tired today, but it was a lot of fun. We met a lot of local quilters who we had never met before. So
That is awesome. Yeah, I'd love to take 60 some quilts somewhere, but I don't know. I don't know if I have that many. Well, definitely not here with me because most of mine always go to new homes.
yeah,
Fallon's saying here, if your stitches are nice and tight, I don't think pressing open the seams will be a problem. I've needed in plenty of patterns, it was fine. The one thing someone told me once was that you can't, it's not advisable to stitch in the ditch with open seams. But other than that, you can kind of do whatever you want. And I've never had a quilt fall apart or have any issues with opening. But yeah, I just kind of, I'm assuming that what they told me was true. I think it was. I'm not going to test the theory.
yeah. I don't really stitch in the ditch, but I can understand what they're saying is if you're stitching in the ditch, then you're only stitching over the stitches themselves.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
So, but I think that's the only real restriction you have. Like if I'm going to stitch in the ditch, I fold to the dark side or wherever the fabric tells me it's going. But yeah, if I'm not going to stitch in the ditch, then yeah, I've kind of leaned towards pressing open regardless, especially because I like doing, um, I like tiny piecing, which is why John's patterns speak to me so well. Yeah,
and if
Zaz, I
anyone,
just
oh, I was gonna say, speaking of tiny piecing, over in that community too, there's a video where I went live with Kate Hay. You might know her on Instagram as Quilt with Miss Kate, but we went on live and we made this half scale block together. If you like to watch tiny piecing, you can go check that out.
oh definitely that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with Miss Kate, but I need to go over and check her out because she looks like it is a lot of fun. I love running around on Instagram looking at all the quilty stuff. If you haven't checked out Instagram, please go check it out. It's a lot of fun. It really is. I like it more than Facebook and that because there's not a lot of ads
Yeah.
or political posts or anything else like that. It's just a bunch of quilters and other people, of course. But if you start looking at quilt stuff, everything that comes up in your feed is basically quilts. And so it's a good way to get inspiration. If you are easily influenced, you may end up spending a lot of money on Instagram on patterns and that sort of thing there. So be fair warned. But yeah, it's something I enjoy. I don't post over there a whole lot because I forget. But I'm always over there hitting the like button on all my buddies. So it's a great place for inspiration. Okay, Andrea's asking what's for breakfast. I'm hungry. Yeah, me too. And I don't know what I'm going to have for breakfast yet. I usually forget to eat before I come on these lives. Maybe that's once a scatterbrained. Who knows?
Annette said
Okay, good.
something really funny. Annette said, "Don't stitch in the ditch, stitch in the neighborhood."
There you go. That's a good one. I like that. Good morning, Jean. It's good to see you. Fallon says she doesn't stitch in the ditch because I don't sew straight enough and they wander in and out. Hey, you work to your strengths. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think, yeah, I hear a lot, people are doing like a lot of, if there's a lot of seams and that sort of thing there, a lot of people tend to like doing the open pressing because it does tend to work better. So yeah, I think that's really, really good advice. Good morning, Miss Sheila. I did see you pop in earlier and I think I got distracted, which is not hard. So there you go. All right. So what was the question I was going to ask you? I wrote down a list yesterday and now I have forgotten where I put that list. Okay, so we've got this piece here. So now we just make them like little sections as we like the tail and all that sort of stuff there. So it's not going to look like I'm doing a whole lot right now, but it'll all come together at some point, I promise.
That's right. Oh, Annette said that saying goes back to Nancy Ziman.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there we go. All right. So what was I going to where's my
I want to go over to Giovanna's house for lunch. They had carbonara for lunch.
she lives in Italy, so yeah, that carbonara is going to be a true
Authentic.
Italian carbonara, not the stuff that they serve here, which my previous exchange student Lorenzo was always telling me, that's not Italian, that's not Italian, you know. So, but if you go over to Giovanna's house, you got to get the real deal, I'm sure. So,
My mind was blown when I found out that when I was younger, and I found out that fettuccine Alfredo
is American. It's
is
not, well,
American. Yeah, it's not a real Italian dish.
we learned that last year when Lorenzo was here. Like, they do not do chicken Alfredo. They do not do a lot of like the stuff that we consider Italian here or in Australia and stuff is not really Italian. That people wouldn't be caught dead eating that stuff. So yeah, we learned a lot last year with Lorenzo.
John, you'll appreciate this story.
Okay.
So I found this recently in a local shop here in Sydney.
Oh,
So
fun.
this is a little dachshund kit. So last year, for those of you who might have gone to Quilt Canada, you're probably familiar with this, but there was some big forest fires or some wildfires around the Halifax area. And there was a shift in the fires at one point, and it was going to hit neighborhoods they didn't expect it to. So a lot of people had just gone through these neighborhoods, just breaking down doors so that their animals had a chance to get out. But there was a little dachshund named Gertie who went missing for 4 days. They didn't know where she was or she was even alive. Anyway, after 4 days, she turned up, and she was eventually reunited with her owners. But she became a little bit of a local celebrity.
I think I heard about that.
Yeah, it was all over the place. But anyway, they came out with this little felt dachshund kit. It's Gertie, the Nova Scotia dachshund. It's a felt.
That's neat.
Kit. I thought that was so cute.
I might have to get my hands on one of those at some point.
Oh well,
yeah,
we can facilitate that for you.
Yeah, because I was pretty much up to speed on the events in Nova Scotia because with my day job, I have a lot of shipments coming in through the port of Halifax. So yeah, I was watching the wildfires pretty closely because I know people up in the Halifax area, and I was worried about mom and pop quilt shop as well because I don't live super far away from Halifax.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing there as well. So. So as I said, that's kind of like curries in the UK. Talking about it's not really Indian. I'm guessing she's talking about like that's not really Indian food. Yeah, we tend to modify stuff to suit our taste buds and that, which I guess is not a bad thing because you want to sell it and make a profit. Put food on your table. So
that's right.
But yeah, if you're looking for authentic stuff, sometimes you really have to go to that place. I guess is the way of saying it. If you go to the Outback Steakhouse expecting Australian food, you could be very, very disappointed. So,
I was very lucky that growing up, so we had a very large Lebanese population where I'm from. So I was very lucky to be surrounded with a lot of authentic Lebanese food growing up. It's still some of my favorites.
And they are such amazing cooks.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we had, I don't know if you have them there, but like the shish kebabs.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have those all over in the place. Like I guess we have a fairly large Lebanese immigrants population in Australia, and just about every town or city you go into, they have a cafe that's run by a Lebanese family, and they make like the doner kebabs and the shish kebabs, and anything else they made was amazing too. Like if you walked in and you saw someone that was of Lebanese descent, you knew you were in for a good meal. So I totally agree. I love their cooking. And then the Greeks the same way. Like if you went into a Greek fish and chip shop in Australia, you were in for a treat. That was that was always my good thing. Like I knew they just did amazing cookery. So okay, so we've got that. Okay. Giovanna says my mum used to make her own curry powder. She learned it from India friends. That's really neat. Yeah, I have an Indian colleague from Mumbai as well. He tried he made us some curries. Oh my goodness, they were delicious. But even the baby spice, what he called a baby spice, was way too hot for me. I was like, Sandesh, I love you, and I would have loved to have eaten more of this, but I just cannot do it.
You said baby spice, and my mind automatically went to Spice Girls.
That's what he called it. It's like, because he gave me the first one, and I was like, oh, good good gravy, this is hot. And he's like, okay, try this one. This is the baby spice. I was like, okay, I'll try. Yeah, because I really wanted to try it. I wanted to try an authentic Indian curry made by someone from India. And yeah, the flavor was phenomenal. But yeah, I just can't do um, spicy stuff. I'm very disappointed because I really wanted to try it, and do more of that. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
kibe.
Nikki,
Kibe is good.
yeah, I'm not sure if I've had Kobe, but it sounds good. Okay, G and L. I'm actually doing all right with this, surprisingly enough.
Kibe. I remember
But
one of our friends' mothers used to make, uh, I'm not even sure what it was called, but it was a Lebanese style rice. And oh my God, it was just, I could have eaten it by the truckloads. It was so good.
yeah. So yeah, let us know in the chat. This would be a good question to ask everybody. What is your favorite cuisine that is not from your area? So like, let's say you live in the US or Canada. What is your favorite cuisine that is from a different country? Is that a good way of saying it, I guess? Like,
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way. I thought you were going
okay,
to say it was your favorite Spice Girl, but
let's ask that question too. Who is your favorite Spice Girl? Good morning, Diana. It's good to see you. She's one of my friends from Bermuda. I hope you are doing well. She was over in the UK quite recently too, if I remember correctly.
Oh, nice.
So pilaf is delicious. Yes, that is very true. So, and then yeah, if you live in Europe, I mean, you really have really good choices because all that stuff is around you. Diana says Italian. Mamas Andrea says German. We have a really good German restaurant not far from here, and I need to take my German exchange student down there soon to see if it's actually real. It's supposed to be authentic German, but we'll let her go down there and tell us one day.
Yeah.
Zaza says Chinese food or Eastern Mediterranean. Now I love me some Chinese food. I know it's not what they really eat in China. I know it's Americanized, but I still love it.
Oh, yeah.
Jean says Chinese and Mexican. Again, Mexican. I love Mexican food here. I tried it in Australia once, and I was like, "This is not even close to American Mexican." I think I offended a few people when I said that, but they need to know the truth.
Yeah.
Nikki says she loves Thai food. Oh yeah, Thai food is amazing too.
Did you like Thai food?
Yeah, my sister and brother-in-law took me to a really good Thai restaurant near their house. We have if you ever go to Australia and you love Asian food, you're in for a treat because they have so many Asian immigrants there that go down there and start restaurants. It's really, really good. Kind of like Mexican restaurants here in the US, where you get a lot of Hispanic immigrants start restaurants. Same thing with Thai, Chinese, and that sort of thing down there. You really can't go wrong when you're down there. Good morning, Pasita. It's good to see you. And hola to Maritza's Yarn and Craft. I hope I pronounced that right. As well. Sheila says Thai. Okay, so I figured Stephen would come up with something for me. Okay, so he says, how about bugs? Well, I'm not huge on bugs, but they do have one down there called a witchetty grub, which is kind of like it lives in wood, and it's kind of like a big white worm, I guess, little short worm. We did cook one of those up once and tried it just to see, because they say it tastes like nuts. And it actually is like, once you cook it, like I wouldn't eat it raw. Once you cook it up, it kind of does taste like a nut. But that's about that's about the most adventurous I've been eating a bug. I'm not, what is it, Les Higgins, the bush tucker man from back in the 80s. So, okay, so Janice says Chinese food in Jamaica, not here. No offense. Chinese food in Jamaica is so much better. I can believe that. I like the Chinese food here in the US, but I find the Chinese food in Australia is far superior in most cases. If you go to like a Chinatown in like DC or San Francisco or New York and that sort of thing, there it's close to what you would find elsewhere. But yeah, I can definitely get behind that there. Denise, not having been to Jamaica, but sometimes it's kind of like that with KFC too. Like KFC here in the US, I find is just, I don't know, I don't even know if you can call it edible. But in Australia, it's phenomenal. So yeah, it's interesting how different cuisines are so much better somewhere else.
That's right.
And the things that look like a clawless lobster. We have. Are you talking about the what are they? No, yabbies, but they have little claws. They're like a freshwater lobster. Those things are good. Um, mud bugs, crawdads, crayfish. Yes, yes, I've eaten those. We cooked a bunch of those up one time at a Boy Scout camp when I was a kid.
Excuse me.
They were like the easiest thing to catch because we had like this big Hessian sack and we just put like leftover lamb roast leg in there and we threw that in the river and left it there for about half an hour. And when we pulled it out, there was like a million of those things. So we ate like kings. So
I feel
Denise
like I have
says,
to go to Jamaica. I'm gonna go to Jamaica, and the first thing I'm gonna want to eat is Chinese food and KFC.
yes. Yeah, it's interesting that KFC tastes better outside of the country it was born in. So
That's awesome.
Branka says she loves Slavic food. Yes, if you can go to an authentic Slavic restaurant, it is phenomenal. We got to do that here locally earlier this year. Simon, one of our exchange students, his parents came over for his high school graduation, and they happened to find a Slavic restaurant in Norfolk, Virginia, which is not far from where I live. And we went there. It was so tasty. So if you ever get a chance to go try that, it's also very, very good. Jan says Macca's is supposed to be better in Australia. Macca's is what we call McDonald's.
McDonald's, yeah.
I think it would. I would agree with that. I think it is better in Australia. So yes. Jean says Japanese food in Guam is awesome. I can imagine that because you're so close to Japan. I think you'd have a lot of that influence there. I have not been to Guam. I don't know that I'll ever go there because it's kind of a long way to go unless you have some really good reason to go. I think it'd be a beautiful place to visit, but it's a long way to go.
There are quilters there. We had someone.
Okay.
We had someone in our Alice in Wonderland so along from Guam.
Oh, really? That's really neat. That's nice to know.
I got some
Okay.
goodies in the mail this week, Sean.
Oh, you did?
I did.
I love goodies.
I got some out of print Tula Pink fabrics
Oh, cool.
from De La Luna. I love spooky season, so I wanted to definitely get my hands on some of the out of print.
Oh, wow.
Some of the out of print fabrics here.
It almost looks like Hedwig.
Yeah. And then there's the sugar skulls too, which are cool.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. And then Adam Sews sent me.
Yeah, I heard he sent you a nice little package. I haven't had a chance to see that here.
Yeah, he sent me a half yard of the De La Luna cameo.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he has like the best collection of Tula fabrics.
Oh my goodness. Like. Does he ever? And then I managed to track down the two other colorways.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw Adam's link in there real quick in case you don't know who Adam Sews is. He is a wonderful quilter over in the UK. If you haven't checked out his channel, go take a look when you get a chance because he does some wonderful stuff. And he also works with like non-quilting sewing as well, like bags and other stuff too, if I remember correctly, right?
He does, and he writes his own patterns for bags. He just released one. It's a caddy. And he made me one. It's still out in the car from our show last night, but he made me this wonderful caddy out of some of my favorite out of print Tula Pink fabrics. And he also just released a tote bag, which is really fun to make. And then he also helped me complete my collection of Monkey Wrench, which is a Tula Pink collection. So between Adam and my friend in Alberta who owns a shop called Purple Cats Quilting, her name is Tracy. She helped me fill in the gaps of what I was missing from that collection. We always laugh. She calls herself my fairy Tula godmother because she's got the connections. Sometimes she can't tell me where some of the fabric comes from, but she's able to get it.
Secret Tula Society. So here's my question with these collections that you're coming up with. Are they just sitting there so you can pet them once in a while, or are you actually going to put them to use?
So I I don't mind cutting into the outer print fabrics. I do quite like it, but it has to be a special project.
Okay, that
Um,
makes sense.
yeah. So one of my favorite quilts I've made was when I participated in the 100 Days, 100 Blocks kinship pattern that Gnome Angel did a couple of years ago, and I did that entire sampler out of Tula pink prints, some of which were very hard to get, but I find that that's the best way to enjoy them when you see them in the projects.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, just I don't know. I have some stuff that I still sit there and pet, but I'm like kind of like you. Like I'm waiting for the right project to. I think there's one here. Let me grab it real quick. Stretch, Sean, stretch. You can do it. This is one I pet from time to time.
Oh, cool.
Found this at Joanne. It's got all 30 major league teams on there,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's out of print now. So this yard is all I have. So
It's always hard to cut into it that first time.
yeah, I thought about making like making a new lunch bag or something to take to the office, but then like it being white, it gets dirty so quickly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I'll come up with something eventually for it. So Jan says here, McCafe is awesome here in Australia. It is. Now, if you haven't been to Australia, you probably don't know. They have McCafe here in McDonald's in the US, but it's basically like a little espresso machine where they can make drinks. McCafe is like in Australia, it's actually like a separate section of the restaurant. Like you have one side where you go order your burgers and fries and all that sort of stuff. And then around the corner, it's kind of almost like having a Tim Hortons or a Starbucks inside McDonald's.
Oh, wow.
It's a full service cafe. You have all the muffins and other baked goodies and everything else. So it really is kind of like walking into a bakery, coffee shop inside of McDonald's. And it's really nice because that way, if you don't want a McMuffin for breakfast, you want something else. Like you can all just go to McDonald's and um, you're all set. Like the whole family's happy because my mother used to go there and get like banana nut bread, and then like we'd go get like a McMuffin or something. So that is really neat. And then she's also saying she hasn't made a quilt this year. So into Ali G bags, love working with faux leather. That is awesome. I haven't really messed much with bags. I make drawstring project bags, but I haven't really even done a whole lot more. Sometimes Amanda asks me to make her. I've made tote bags and stuff, but nothing too fancy. But maybe one day.
The
All right. Thank you for joining us there, Deb. I hope you have a good day.
Zaza says she has old Tula pink from before she was at Free Spirit. I think it's Moda. Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
Do you know what collection it's from?
Yeah, I'm very interested in that too. The only time I've ever used Tula's fabrics is actually for the Alice project.
Yeah, her true colors work really well with our patterns because they're like blenders, so they cut down
Mm-hmm.
really well. Uh, Riley Blake's fabrics work really well in our projects too because they cut down really well. So a lot of the fabrics in our 100 Acre Woods quilt are all most of them are actually Lori Holt fabrics. Uh, and they're just really great blenders for those types of projects.
That's awesome. That was the question I was going to ask you: is how did the whole and I don't know how much you can tell me, and it's okay if you can't. How did the whole Riley Blake sponsorship thing take place? Like, did they reach out
Oh,
to you, or how did that work?
so
Again,
yeah.
if it's trade secrets, you can't tell me.
Oh
That's
no, I
okay.
can.
Just tell me to mind my own business.
No, I'm happy to share. So we had a good friend who owned a quilt shop in the U.S. who sold our patterns. Um, they sold a lot of our patterns. They really liked our patterns. Anyway, he works for Riley Blake now, and he thought they would just be a really great fit. So he brought us to the CEO, and we met,
Okay.
and they liked what we were doing, and they got a chance to see our 100 Acre Wood quilt mocked up in all of their fabrics. And we've been doing a lot of our quilts in their fabrics for their own, and we've released Riley Blake versions of them. And then it just so happened, so Riley Blake owns the licensing for Anne of Green Gables fabrics.
Okay.
So that project came quite naturally through that, uh, being able to do that. So Yeah, it was
Was
a
that,
really great fit.
oh, awesome. Because that was going to be my next question is how did you get involved with the Anna Green Gables thing? So you kind of answered two of my questions, even though I asked one, which is nice.
Yeah. Oh, it's the sea creatures. One I can't remember the name of the top of my head. Sea creatures.
Pat says she loves that.
Might be saltwater. I'm gonna have to open the archive.
Yeah, so I'm hopeless at that stuff. I am not the one to ask. So, but no, that's a lot of fun. And then you have testers and stuff too to test your patterns. Is that correct? I remember seeing that once.
Yeah, we've kind of streamlined that a little bit more. So we have we keep testers at like pretty much a minimum. However, we do have an editor that does all the patterns now that we go to each time that we hire to go through our patterns quite thoroughly. It's quite the process. So she actually, what's really great about this editor is she has a really great English background in terms of that, but she's also a quilter. But she actually makes the pattern on paper. So
Ah, okay.
so she doesn't put it together, but she does all the math completely through the pattern. So it's a really cool process to see. And I find that doing it that way, uh, you tend to catch more because then you're not distracted by the fabrics and
Yeah,
the
that's
sewing.
true.
Yeah, you're just focused on the math and everything.
Yeah, I was because I mean I'm trying to come up with some simple patterns myself when I have time, which is like never. Um, and I always wondered if doing it like by paper or on like some sort of graphic design software or something would work. So apparently the answer to that question is yes. So
Yeah.
that's really neat because yeah, it'd be a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Um,
So when I'm designing a pattern, um I do design on the computer first. So I do it digitally first, and I get to work out a lot of the kinks that way and work with the scale and things like that first before I go to fabric.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
it's nice that you can
we have
Mennonite
someone from down
farmhouse.
under, Sean. Rose Garland Creations says hi.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, she was here earlier. She's one of my friends from Tasmania. She's was here before we started, and I thought she was watching the all along. But yeah, it's good to see you. Good morning, Mona. I didn't see you pop in earlier, so I apologize if I didn't say good morning earlier. And then yeah, Mennonite Farmhouse is here as well, which is nice. I think I've caught everybody. Giovanna had to go take a nap, but I mean it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon there, so yeah, right around nap time. So that is good. I was gonna say something a minute ago, and now I've forgotten what it was.
Oh, sorry. I think I did.
That's it. Oh,
What were we
I'm
talking?
like that a lot.
Oh, we were talking about digital, I think.
Oh
Digital.
yeah, that's what it was. Okay, so I forget who it was. It might have been Melissa said, congratulations on my highly commended ribbon in the state fair, which it's
Yeah.
still up there. I'll go see it tomorrow. Um, the quilting for that I actually did digitally first, like because I was sitting there trying to figure out how to quilt that, and so I pulled up a picture and I just went into Microsoft Paint, nothing fancy, and tried out a few different patterns on the photo just to see how it would look. And my original idea looked horrible, absolutely horrendous. And then I just changed it to straight lines around, and that looked beautiful. And that's what I ended up going with. So yeah, doing that sort of stuff digitally works beautifully for so many different things. And as I
Oh,
think for my quilting, for quilting especially, I think I'm going to use that little thing just to try stuff out because that way, if it doesn't work, I'm not having to pull up my very, very best friend. I just hit undo and try something else. So I
exactly.
think I thought that was neat. I hadn't shared that story yet about how I did it, but I just thought it was neat.
It's
That
funny because
that
when I first started designing, I remember my first pattern that I wrote is one called Quilting is for the Birds, and it features
okay,
4 different birds on it. And that one I started straight into fabric. So I remember back we lived in a different house then. In the basement, I had like 50 rejected bird blocks hanging all over the basement. And then I realized, oh, if I do this digitally first, you can work out a lot of those design kinks and decisions beforehand.
It's funny, I think we all do that because, like, I think the first thing I just tried making was like a little cactus block, and I mean it was cute and all, but yeah, I think we had 2 or 3 orphan blocks that until I got it right. So yeah, I think we all do that as well. Okay, so going back to the ribbon, people are asking about that. I haven't announced it officially. I was going to do that tomorrow, but I figured if anybody mentioned it or said something, I did get a. I keep wanting to say it's highly commended, but it's actually called honorable mention in the state fair for my doll quilt, which was the snippets quilt from Cotton Cuts. They sent me a little bag of scraps and said make something out of it, and I turned it into a small 22 by 22 wall hanging. And I entered it in the state fair because so Becca and I challenged each other to enter something into the doll quilt category, and we both got an honorable mention in that. So I'm going to put it on the podcast tomorrow with some pictures. They're not great, they're not the most high quality pictures, but you'll see that tomorrow, and then I'll be able to do a better job the following week because the quilt will be back in my hands again. So that is that story there.
So great, Sean! Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I'm super excited because I mean, the level of competition at the state fair these days is getting more and more. I don't know if intense is the right word, but it's not what it was 3 or 4 years ago, where if you put something in, you had a good chance of getting a prize. Now it's like the lady that has won that category the last at least 3 or 4 years placed third. So, yeah. I want to go up there. I'm going up to the fair tomorrow, and I want to see who got first and second and what they did, because if they beat this nice lady, they must have done something spectacular. Because yeah, she is a phenomenal quilter, and yeah, I'm just very, very interested to see how that went. But yeah, to pick up basically 4th place in the state for that particular category, I think it's amazing. I really do.
That's really great.
Yeah. So, and there was like all sorts of errors piecing wise. I mean, the seams didn't line up here and there and everything else. Like, there's no way I'm going to get a ribbon. But I told Becca I was going to enter the show and see what happens. And I was more excited to see her get a ribbon than was for myself. But when I saw mine, I was like, yes. So, very good. Okay, so Mona said see, great minds think alike. She asked if it was a Pac-Man quilt, and no, it's. Do you want to talk a bit more about the quilt behind you?
Yeah, sure. So this is one of our new patterns. So a few years ago, we did a sew along called a mini block sampler, and one of our little mini blocks in it was this little ghost block, and they are kind of Pac-Man style. But it was the most popular block in that sampler, so we came up with this. We thought he deserved his own quilt. So what's really kind of fun about this one is that it's constructed like a traditional log cabin quilt. So it's called the Haunted Cabin. So if you look, there's actually, you have your center block and then your pieces around it, just like a log cabin. And then the rest is assembled the same way around it all the way out. So it's a traditionally pieced block, or quilt, I should say. But this pattern does come with a foundation paper piece option for those little ghost frills. I don't know what you would call them. They're not butts. Right. They're not feet. The little ghost fringe.
Wouldn't it be like, fringe or a hem? I guess it's the hem of the sheet, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's what that is. So this is the large version. The large version of the quilt. There's 3 sizes.
Right.
So that's the large one. There's also a medium one that I made, which is 3 rows of ghosts. And then there's a small version as well. That's just 8 ghosts in the center.
I'm really going to have to do that pattern because I don't know that I can call myself a real quilter, even though I have, some pretty ribbons attached to my quilts. Because I have never, ever done a log cabin quilt.
Oh, really? It's never. A fun one to do.
Yeah, and it's something I've always, wanted to try. But then again, I like working with small pieces. So I think this might be a really good option for me to do in the very near future. So that might be a early 2025 project, because I think I've pretty much got 2024 covered already because I still got to work on Alice. I got to get started on Pooh, and some puzzle mystery quilts and some other, and I also want to try and finish some of the stuff that I've started and have neglected for quite some time. So there we go. All right. So good morning to Miss Heather. I saw you pop in as well, and I forgot to say hi. I get very, very distracted, but that's okay. All right, so I have made some progress. For anyone that came in earlier, I am working on There She Blows, which is a free pattern by Art East Quilting Co, which is John. And this is the top of my whale. Then I'm starting to make some of it. Yeah, there we go. That's the finish. That's what it's going to look like one day. It doesn't take that long, though. I mean, I've been working on this for about an hour, and I've done this and a bunch of the smaller pieces, which we'll put together very, very soon. So maybe you'll come back tomorrow and see a completed quilt top or a very close quilt top. And there you go. But if you want to go see that pattern, you can go take a look. It's a free pattern. That way you can check it out and see if this is a good fit for you. And then you can also go over and check out the store and see what other goodies you can buy. The the ghost pattern behind John. We'll just go with that.
The haunted cabin, yeah.
Thank you. I'm very tongue-tied this morning for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, there you go. So yeah, it's all sorts of fun. And then the Pooh, the 100-acre wood is also another option for those in the US and Canada only, right? Because the copyright's still not.
Yeah. So Winnie the Pooh, the original books are in the public domain now in the US and Canada. But the copyright is still active in the UK and Australia and beyond. So for now, that's only available in it's only available in Canada and the US. But in 2027, we'll be able to sell the pattern abroad. So there's no plans to sell the blocks individually for that one. So it'll just be part of the entire sew along. Donna was asking.
Yes, I was about to ask you about that. But the other thing too, if you're located in the US and you see the prices on John's website, remember they are in Canadian dollars, and so you actually get a like 25% discount if paying with US dollars. So if you see it 60 Canadian dollars, you're really only paying about 45, 46 US dollars. So for anyone in the US, you're getting a US discount when paying with US dollars. Now, if you have a Canadian bank account, then in the US, then you'll be paying, whatever it says. But yeah, it's always a good way to think about because the US dollar at the time of recording is so much stronger than the Canadian dollar. You will be getting that little bit of a discount.
There's there's one of our projects for the future, the very near future, is going to be to move our website to a bigger platform so that we can start charging in everyone's native, I was gonna say not native tongue, in everyone's native currency.
Yes. Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, I work with different currencies all the time, so I kind of can translate and that sort of thing there. But that's always good. Good morning, Faith. It's good to see you. She says, John looks so young. He does.
Flattery will get you everywhere, Faith.
Emma says, I wish the discount worked the opposite way for Canadians. Yeah, I know it's always hard when you're on the opposite end. Like when I worked in Australia and I came to the US, I think the first time I came here, the Australian dollar was worth about 50 US cents. So when you saw $4 US, it was like $8 and some change because they add tax afterwards. That really hurts. So I definitely feel for you on that one. It's not easy when you're on the opposite end. It's nice when you have the stronger dollar, but not so much when you have the weaker one. It's not.
I can remember a time there. I feel like there was a short blip that feels like a fever dream where the Canadian dollar was actually at par or even maybe slightly more. It was like a very short period.
That was in 2011.
Was it? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
because I was in Canada like that when we went up to see Cape Breton, and well, maybe it was 2010. It was one of those times we were in Canada. I think we were at Peggy's Cove. We went to a store there, and the Canadian dollar was worth a little bit more than the US, and they were just like, just give us whatever it is in US, and we'll just call it even. Like they just didn't want to sit there and figure out, for 2 pennies on the dollar, to just like if you just give us what you have. If it's $20 Canadian, just give us 20 US, and we'll just say it's close enough. So
Peggy's Cove is somewhere that will look very different now too, Sean, from when you were there.
really, okay.
Yeah, they've built a lot. They built a boardwalk all around it, so to keep people off the rocks close to the ocean, because so many people
Oh,
were getting. There were signs that said don't go to certain areas, but people were
which I
ignoring,
followed. Yeah.
and a lot of people were getting swept off.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Well, that's yeah. I mean, it's understandable, but it's sad because like when I was up there, I got the photos, and it just looks so beautiful and natural and everything else. But yeah, I can definitely get why they would do that. So, um, yeah, maybe it's good that I went up there when I did because it looks so nice. And the public gardens in Halifax are also a beautiful place to visit if you ever get a chance.
yeah.
Love to go back there. So yeah, this is not a travel channel, but yeah, kind of turned into one this morning with the what is it, the Atlantic Maritime region of Canada.
Yes.
I think that's what they call it. So yeah, it's a beautiful area. If you ever get a chance to go up to like the Halifax, Cape Breton, Prince Edward Island area, go for it. It's a lot of fun. It really is. And you know, I really really enjoyed it. And one of these days I'll go back up there and go hang out with John and that as well. Are you planning on going to Quilt Canada next year?
I might go as a visitor. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was
Uh,
curious because it's a
yeah,
fair
'cause
hike for you.
it's in Toronto. Yeah, it's not too bad. So my family lives in Ontario, so it would be a really good excuse to visit the family and do Quilt Canada all at the same time.
Yeah, I'd like to go, but I don't know if it's going to be logistically possible or not. But maybe. Oh, and speaking of PEI, it looks like Colleen just popped in. She says hello, Sean. Hello, John from PEI. So there we
Is this
go.
is this Colleen Pigeon?
Maybe, I don't know.
It
Just says
might be
Colleen.
Colleen. Yeah, so I know a Colleen from PEI.
Yeah, Pat just says the same thing as you. She says Peggy codes is not the same. Unfortunately, some still don't obey the signs with sad results. Yeah, when I see danger signs near water, I guess maybe because I lived in Australia and sometimes those danger signs meant crocodiles, I tend to listen to them. So,
Yeah,
especially with like those ones with the riptides and that too. Like, I've been carried at the sea in a riptide, and thankfully, it wasn't too bad. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to do that again, especially up those waters. That they're cold. You don't want to get swept into Peggy's Cove because
No.
it's
And it's
not warm
even
water.
it's there's even been instances where people were obeying the rules and there's just a rogue wave
Wave, yeah,
wash people out. It's scary.
yeah. You don't want to mess with that stuff. Good morning, John. He says, "Good morning, guys from Arizona. It's good to see you as well. Now it's bright and early in your part of the world because it's what 6:28 in the morning." Okay, so there we go. All right, so it's about 9:30, so I think we'll go ahead and wrap things up as we try and keep this to about a 90-minute thing. I'd like to thank you, John, so much for hanging out with us this morning. It was a lot of fun talking to you and learning a bit more about the quilt things. But one more question I had for you is, how long does it take you normally to prepare the sew-alongs? Like, are you already working on next year's?
Yeah, we're in the phase of narrowing down on next year's topic. So we're working on that right now. Um, so it's about a year in advance. Oh, hi, Colleen. It is my friend Colleen from PEI.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah, so we're currently narrowing down on next year's theme. And the plan for next year will be that our sew along will start probably in January of 2026. So we'll probably push it back a little bit to give us more time to plan and to prep.
Okay, so we get a little bit of a break. That'd be fun. I was a little surprised to see Anne come out so close after Pooh.
Oh yeah. Well, she's not a sew along, so she's her own pattern. But Anne's been in the work for a few years.
Yeah, that's really neat. And that's one of my wife's favorite books. Like, 'cause I found this cruise from New York. It went up to Halifax and Sydney and Charlottetown and some other places in the US. And I said, she asked, where is it going? And I said, well, it's going to Halifax and Sydney, Nova Scotia, and then Charlottetown. She started squealing. I'm like, okay, what did I miss? She's like, oh, that's where Anna Greek Gimbals is. She's like, go ahead and book it. So I made her really happy without even knowing about it. I just thought, you know, the place like Bar Harbor, Maine was beautiful, and Boston, and I just thought it'd be a nice trip. And yeah, but apparently I knew nothing about Charlottetown. I was like, I didn't know where we're going here, but yeah, that's why. Plus, they have the cows there. So once I heard they had a cow's ice cream read, I was like, I'm sold on that. So
I love Cow's ice cream.
yes, if you haven't had a chance to try Cow's ice cream, it's a small chain of ice creameries in Eastern Canada. They do have the closest one to me is in Niagara on the Lake. They have one there. I have visited that one, and then I've also been to the one in Charlottetown and Halifax on the harbor front as well.
Yeah.
They say it's the world's best ice cream.
What's your favorite flavor?
I don't remember. It's been so long. I mean,
so they
always
have
something.
They laugh at me because they have a birthday cake one that I really like, and there's like
really?
There's a blue icing mixed in it, and every time I get it, I ask for extra blue because the icing part's my favorite. It's really good.
Yeah, that's fun. So, all right. So, Jean says she enjoyed and got lots of tracing done while watching us. Heather just got the ghost pattern, and she said she's excited to start that one now.
Awesome.
So there we go. And then Donna's asking for hints about next year, but I think it's too early. We're not even going to try and go down that road. Well, we've got to have some surprise for next year. So yeah, there you go. All right, with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you all so much for hanging out. It's always fun hanging out with my quilty friends. I missed you all so much last week, so it was good to get back and hang out with John and get to know him. If you haven't checked out John's website, let me go ahead and put his website back in again. There we go. Mennonite Farmhouse says Tea-berry ice cream is popular in my area. Speaking of that, I was talking to my Danish exchange student who came in, and we were going to an ice cream place nearby that is called Uncle Rick's, which is my absolute favorite here in this area. And I asked her what ice cream flavors she liked. She's like, I like pretty much everything except licorice flavor. I was like, really? I'd never heard of licorice flavors. So apparently it's really popular in Denmark is to have licorice everything. I was like, I'd love to try it because I love licorice. But yeah, she's like, I can't stand that stuff. So it's interesting that different countries have different flavors like that. So
I think there was a flavor here that was half licorice flavor, half, or I think it was called like tiger tail, and like half was licorice. But I don't know. This might be one of those childhood memories that I've made up. But
I've been out looking for a licorice ice cream at different places I go now. I probably won't find it. Yeah. But yeah, if I find it, I'm going to try it. She won't have any part of it, but I'm going to try it. So there we go. All right. So with that, Nikki says she's working on the Wild West this morning. That is awesome. Tiger tail. Pat says tiger tail.
I think I think that's what it was.
Yeah, and Mozilla says tiger is my favorite. Okay, perfect. Well, okay. Well, if we don't go now, we'll probably be here until 1 o'clock this afternoon, which will be good. But I've got to go run around and do some errands and stuff too. So there we go. All right. So thank you all again for hanging out with us. I hope you'll have a great day. If you're watching the replay, say hi in the comments so we know you're watching. It's always good to see who's hanging out with us. Hope you all have a great day. Happy sewing, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks.
Bye.
All right.